Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about the Blood Angel Combat Patrol. Is it worth it? Is it a good start? And before we roll into my part one of my projects of the planning phase, am I going to be getting one of these to build my first 1,000 points around? So let's have a little look at it and let's have a chat. Hello everybody, before we get into today's video, this is future me editing the video. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about the Blood Angel Combat Patrol box quite a lot in this video. And at the time of recording, I was under the impression that the box was out on the Saturday, and yeah, it was coming out at the weekend. That was... I was wrong. It was actually the week after, so at the time of recording this little segment, it's basically this weekend that it's coming. It was a 2-week pre-order window. It was due out in the second. So some naughty person had sold one of those early to a friend, and yeah, so and then made me think that it was actually out. Which little did I know until I turned up to my local hobby store to try to get one. I wasn't allowed to have it. So yeah, that's the reason why. So if I start talking about it that it's already out and it's not out, that's the reason why. So just to clarify. But now on to the video. So I hope everyone enjoys it. Goodbye. That's right. The Blood Angel Combat Patrol is out today for all of the masses. Well done to my friend Tom, who picked one up from his local newsagent. You absolute legend of a man. Obviously, it was the gold shiny things because he must have thought it was a custodian guard box. No giving. Anyway, is this box worth it? Now, obviously, as you can see, it is £100. There is a slight price increase, I believe. I think they used to be 95, but they've now gone up to 100. But still, if you're a smart consumer, you will be shopping at your local independent retailers and your hobby stores online, such as Element Games and Firestorm Games, and to name but a few. I personally like to go to my local stores at Replay Games and the shop over in Newton Ards, because you can get some good stuff. But the box is pretty decent. I mean, you get quite a good stuff. You get the Captain, which is quite a nice model. I mean, it's all the entire Blood Angel stuff. So you do get the Captain, and he does come with all of the options, which includes the, the Power Fist, the sword, the what's it called, the chainsword and stuff like that. And then you also get like all of the little sort of doofers with the nice little helmets. You do get 6 Sanguinary Guard, which, let's be honest, I mean, they're like retailing at about £35 a box for 3 miniatures. So when you intake in the Captain and the 10 Assault Intercessors, which can kind of give you 2 starting units of 5 Marines, and the Captain, pretty decent. This is not bad. I mean, two units of Sanguinary Guard, 1 box of these and Dante, and you're laughing, because you've got a nice unit of 6 of Sanguinary Guard running around with Dante, which is a pretty ball-busting nice little unit to have. And the Captain, you can either have him on foot with those Assault Intercessors, or you can stick a jump pack on his back and have him bouncing around like a lunatic with jump pack Assault Intercessors. And then obviously you can paint him black as well and have him as a Death Company Captain, which is kind of cool. Or you can go old school and paint him gold and have that 2nd edition vibe, a little bit of Captain Tycho, which unfortunately he is dead and is no longer in the Codex. Sad times for Tycho. But yeah, it's a good box. I quite like it. And I personally think that originally I was thinking 3 of these as a nice starting block for the army. And that would give me essentially 18 Sanguinary Guard, which is very fluffy because you're pretty much running the entire chapter's worth of Sanguinary Guard. Obviously, Dante can only join 1 of them, but it would still be pretty cool. And then obviously that would give you 3 Assault Intercessor squads. Now I know some people are going to turn around and go, but they aren't very good there, Pointy. You want to get something like Infiltrators instead, who are a better unit. You don't need to rely on battle line units because you don't. And there are objectives that you don't need. There are better choices competitively. Yeah, that's true. But sometimes You just want to go for the rule of cool and have a lot of assault marines running around or jumping around, raining death upon the enemy, or jumping out of drop pods, or coming out of transports, because that's how the narrative works. And this is one of the things I love about 40k, is the actual narrative. And some of my favorite artwork from the game has been the original artwork of the Blood Angel Assault Marines on the roof. Also the tactical marines coming out of the Dark Angel Rhino, and you can see the rounds bouncing off the floor in and around his feet, and you got the guy up in the pintle mounted stone bolted laying down some hurt. Or the really classic piece of artwork where you had the Land Raiders in the Crimson Fist colour scheme, absolutely smashing face. There's just some beautiful pieces of artwork which really encapsulate that imagery of what it's like in the 41st millennium. And, you know, sometimes you just have to go with that rather than what is the meta or the competitive choice. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're going to go full hard into tournaments, that's what you want to do. But on my journey, that's not what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be building a thematic list, and I have some lists in mind, which will be in the next video about my planning, part 1 of my Blood Angel project, which will be named Planning. And I will go through a couple of lists that I have in mind and some of the things that I want to do to build and paint up for this 2,000 plus army, because, you know, that's how this is going to work. So yeah, I think this is a good box. I think one of these is a really good buy. I think Dante would be a solid choice to add to it, and a Sanguinary Priest would also be a really solid choice, because that Sanguinary Priest can join that unit with the captain, or you can break that unit of intercessors down into 2 5-man units and have the captain in one and a Sanguinary Priest in the other. You could even be ultra beardy and get 2 Sanguinary Priests and have 1 in each unit, because that's cool. Sanguinary Priests are really, really good, by the way. They are a really, really solid unit, and I would definitely think about getting it. But the box is really good, and one of the coolest things about the box as well is you do get this, which is the upgrade kit, and I imagine the decal sheet as well. So you get all of the little cool little parts that you can use on your Blood Angel models. So you get the extra Terminator chest, the shoulder pads, the arm, and all of that good stuff. And I think this is really good. I quite like it. Now, this is, I think, retail at around £18-20 on its own. So when you start adding the fact that there's 2 Sanguinary Guard units and 1 of these, you really then start seeing the value. So I would say that this is a good starting point for any future Blood Angel player, or anybody who wants to expand an existing army, because you're going to get the upgrades, which you probably want, but, you know, you kind of want your Marines not to look like red Ultramarines. And some of these heads, by the way, are really, really nice. Like, some of the bear heads that you get are really, really, really cool. They are really super cool. I really like them. So yeah, really, really quite impressed. Now, I wasn't a massive fan of the Sanguinary Guard when I first seen them, but they are slowly growing on me, and I do think taking off the derpy looking heads and giving them the bear heads and going for swords, because the swords are just so good, would probably make them better. And if I was to get this, which I am, I would probably also add in the Sanguinor as an extra little unit to the side, because he is just brilliant. He doesn't join any of the units, and he's just kind of like, how to describe him? If you play Age of Sigmar, he's like the Celestial Prime for the Stormcast Eternals. You kind of put him off the table, and you kind of bring him onto the table. You can deep strike him and drop him in the reserve part of your turn, at the end of your turn, and you can drop them in like that, 9 inches away from an enemy. Or you can do something really cool, and when an enemy charges you, you can drop him off out of the sky and into engagement zone with that unit that just charged, and then he can start bishing and bashing with his big ass sword, which is kind of cool. I quite like that. So yeah, you know, Sanguinor is definitely a must in a Blood Angel army. And obviously, if I was running this, I would be running this with the Liberate Assault group bit as well. So yeah, that's it. So I personally think this is an absolute cracking choice, and for any Blood Angel player, you should definitely be looking at getting one, or 2, or 3, if you're a madman. I want to be doing some really cool stuff with the army. I want to really get sort of into it, but I'm going to go more into that into the next video when I start talking about the planning phase and what I've got envisioned and looking at the lists. I've got about 3 lists written that I'm going to go through. And there'll be more for like competitiveness, sort of like not try hard, but kind of sort of catch elements and kind of try to do reasonably well at events, because I am learning about competitive 40k while doing my local league, while getting teabagged by a Sisters of Battle player. Thank you, Alex. So yeah, should be good. And I've got another list that is a little bit sort of more thematic, and then I've got a very cool list which is super awesome, and it's kind of my dream list because I love Terminators. And the Archangels, the elite of the Blood Angels, are a very cool, iconic sort of formation of the chapter, and they've been around since, like, you know, forever. You know, you've seen them in Space Hulk. You've seen them all over artwork, old artwork. So, you know, kind of doing an army sort of based around them is kind of cool as well. But I'll go into more detail in that video, which will be up in a few days' time. But if you want to see all of that and everything else that I do, please like and comment and ring the bell and everything else. But most importantly, subscribe. And you can check out my members and Patreon areas. And I will see you all in the next video, everybody. Goodbye for now.